Welcome, everybody, back to the X Factor Sports Network NFL edition. I am your host of Co's. I don't even know what we call it, but I'm Fred Weisner, as always, joined by Troy Coomer. Troy, how we living? We ain't stars. We ain't superstars. We changing the game, baby. We are X Factors. How we doing, baby?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I'm doing pretty good. Most of you probably don't know Fred went through a little bit of a surgery. You can see a sling there. Fred, how you feeling? Kind of give him a rundown, and then we'll get right into it.
Yeah, man, feeling good. Had my ulnar collateral ligament repaired and also my ulnar nerve moved. For those who don't know, that is your inner part of your elbow, that ligament. A lot of baseball players have that surgery, especially pitchers. I finally had to have it. It finally snapped, but making a full recovery. Should be back to normal in 4 to 6 months. So it's a long recovery, but I'm here for it, and I'm ready to make some awesome content for you guys. I'm an X Factor, man. What can I say?
He's changing the game, still all slinged up and all. So let's dive right in. So last week, as we always do, the matchups. Fred's updated record, I believe he went 10-5 last week, or 10-4, and his overall record's 22-8. My overall record is 20-10. I went 9-5. Fred went 10-4.
Cool.
So, and this week is kind of like the week of the buys. I'm not even sure what to call it. It's Cowboys, Bills, Chargers, Steelers, Vikings, and Jags all on a bye. If you are a fantasy football player, have fun trying to manage this. The likes of Najee Harris, Zeke, Stephon Diggs, Josh Allen, Dak Prescott, Dalvin Cook. There's a lot of names all mixed in. Austin Eckler, Keenan Allen, Justin Herbert. So it's a week where you're kind of pinching, but don't you worry. At the end of the matchups, me and Fred will have a boom bust with fantasy that we believe two guys that can boom will go head to head, as we always do. So without further ado, week 7 is underway on Thursday night. Tonight, Denver goes on the road and plays the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns come in very, very dinged up. Baker Mayfield out. Kareem Hunt out, Nick Chubb out. A lot of their key pieces, of course, Jarvis Landry still on IR. A lot of key pieces, man. And Denver, they're both 3-3. It's a big game. And so on Thursday night, primetime, who do you got, Fred?
I'm gonna go Broncos here, man. Cleveland's just too beat up. I mean, they're without their 2 top runners, and that's pretty much their offense. I think Case Keenum's capable of throwing a game. Like you said, man, they're still missing so many weapons. They're not really helping them out any. Love what Donovan Peoples-Jones did last week. I hope OBJ can finally do something, worth talking about. But like to see Teddy Bridgewater bounce back, have a big week, and that defense for Denver is going to be swarming. So I got Denver.
Yeah, the Browns have arguably the best offensive line in football, and they're missing a couple key pieces on the line as well. It's a very beat up week for the Browns. They're in desperate need of their bye week, but that's not to come for quite some time. But nonetheless, I'm also going Broncos. I don't think I don't think you can bet on the Browns with all the injuries and everything. I don't see how they move the ball with Case Keenum, D'Ernest Johnson. I mean, they're really starting to scrape together their guys, and of course they have Odell, but Odell hasn't shown anything really worth getting excited about. The Broncos, Javonte Williams, Melvin Gordon, Cortland Sutton has been fantastic off his injury. You know how high I am on that young man. And Tim Patrick has been great for them. So, and Noah Fant, of course. So I'm all over the Broncos. I think they win in very convincing fashion.
I agree.
And then Sunday, I'm just going to kick it off with my game of the week. And it's the Bengals going on the road to play the Baltimore Ravens. The Bengals come in 4-2. The Ravens are 5-1. This is a battle to sit atop the AFC. If the Bengals win, they will be the number 1 seed in the AFC. The Ravens do come into the game favored by about 6.5 points. So they're favored by a touchdown. And Fred, kind of give your insight here as you are like a non-biased participant in this week. The Ravens obviously coming off their biggest win of the year, absolutely dominating the Chargers from snap one. But kind of dive into what you think is going to happen here.
Yeah, so this is actually my game of the week as well. I wanted to do a different game of the week than you, but I really don't see another game worth talking about. Maybe the Chiefs and the Titans.
Yeah.
But this one was just such a good game. I would be crazy not to make it my game of the week as well. I do think the Ravens will end up pulling this one out, but I do think it's going to be closer, or I think it will be close. I don't even think people think it won't be close, but that Ravens defense, I mean, last week, what they did with Justin Herbert was fantastic, and how they just neutralized all their weapons. I don't think they'll neutralize the Bengals' weapons to that extent, but I do think that defense is the X factor for the Ravens. I'm interested to see how the Bengals contain Lamar. I think they dropped this one. Maybe we'll have a different conversation when they head to Cincinnati, but I do want to. I think it's gonna be a fun game. I think it's gonna be close. Maybe Ravens by 3.
Yeah, like you said, this game is going to be so much fun. When you look at it, the Bengals coming off of their most dominant win in a few years. I kind of jokingly was talking to my mom, and I said it's kind of weird to be on the other end of a blowout, and to kind of sit there and enjoy watching your team beat the brakes off of somebody. And to me, this is my upset of the week. I got the Bengals pulling it out, and I'm not one that has. You can look back at I picked the Packers over the Bengals. I'm not one to pick the Bengals every game. This is my upset of the week, and here's why. You saw a couple teams last week. For instance, the Bills and the Chargers. They had a bye week this week. The Ravens have a bye week next week. Sometimes you can lay an egg the game before a bye week because your head and your body and your mind is locked into like, okay, let's get to this bye week and let's enjoy the week, not have to worry about anything. So I think that is a huge component, and not to mention Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and the boys. The Ravens are beat up. The Ravens are beat up. They're arguably, I don't even think it's arguable, the most beat up team in the NFL. And somehow, some way, they're winning games. As you said, I personally am not excited to see this Bengal defense against Lamar. The Bengal defense has done very, very well thus far this year. But there's one thing I've noticed, and obviously they'll have a different scheme for Lamar. But a lot of games that I have watched, they leave the middle of the field. They have not contained a single quarterback this year. Obviously, I think they will with Lamar, but they don't run a lot of QB spies. They don't run a lot of that. I haven't seen a lot of that. So, but I think Logan Wilson's a good guy to have out there. With Lamar being as athletic, Trey Hendrickson and Sam Hubbard off the edge, always nice. I think it's going to be, like you said, a very close, high-scoring game. But this is my upset of the week. I got the Bengals pulling it out in Baltimore, kind of turning the corner game for the Cincinnati Bengals. And they're my upset of the week. I'm riding with the Houday by 3.
It's a big game, man. Big game for that division.
I'm so juiced up for that game. It's arguably the biggest game we've had since the playoff game against the Steelers. And we blew that one, so I don't even want to talk about that. But nonetheless, we're moving on. The Washington football team, 2-4, on the road to the Green Bay Packers. The Packers come in 5-1, and they are 10-point favorites. Washington has had one of the worst defenses of the year, giving up the most passing yards in the NFL. They can't stop anybody, and the Chiefs absolutely dominated them last week. And I got the Packers big. What about you?
Packers big, man. That football team's defense has been so disappointing with all the weapons they have on that defense, especially on that defensive line. Just not getting to the quarterback. Secondary's played awful. There's really nothing good you can say about that defense, and that offense isn't much better. Of course, they didn't expect to have Heineke out there for an extended period of time. Going into the season. Yeah. And I know Gibson's a little beat up, so I don't think it's going to be close. I think Green Bay just absolutely dominates them from start to finish.
Yeah, I will say Heineke will throw the ball a lot, and I think he'll have a decent amount of success because the Packers secondary is not that good. But nonetheless, you got Aaron Rodgers, you got Aaron Jones, and you got Devontae Adams. You'll be just fine against that defense so far this year, which is so strange to even say. But nonetheless, we're moving on. Falcons on the road to Miami to play the 1-5 Dolphins. The Falcons coming off their bye week, so they had an extra week to prepare. The Dolphins lost by a game-winning field goal against the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is a pick'em game by Vegas, so they're pretty much saying this game could go either way. Fred, what do you think?
I'm excited to see Tua. I think he looked pretty good out there in London. I think he showed some flashes of brilliance, if you will. I don't know how long he's going to be in a Miami uniform with all the trade talks going on with Deshaun Watson and the likes of that. I think I'm gonna go Atlanta here though. I like
Miami.
no, I'm going Atlanta.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I like what Tua did, but I think Atlanta's too much. I like Kyle Pitts. I love how they're, starting to get him involved a lot. Mike Davis and Cordell Patterson. I really like the defense hasn't played awful. They've given up a lot of points, but you look at their yards they've given up, not too bad, middle of the pack. And that Miami defense has been really bad this year.
Yeah.
And I think Matt Ryan exposes that, and I'm excited to see what comes. It's not really an exciting game, but I'm excited to see that Falcons offense because I think they have some fun weapons to watch and a few guys that can make some noise. So I'm gonna go Falcons.
Yeah, you kind of alluded to it. The point numbers can get skewed a little bit because they gave up almost 50 to the Buccaneers. So the point totals can be a little skewed just because they have that huge game where the Buccaneers scored 48 points.
Right.
But I'm also going Falcons. Like you said, I love this offense.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about it. I love Kyle Pitts. I was really high. Me and you both really high on him coming into the process. Thought he was the best player in the class. Like this dude's unbelievable. And then Calvin Ridley should be back for this game. He missed the London game. And like you said, the defense isn't playing bad. I love their coach, Arthur Smith. I think he's a great coach to get behind. I think Matt Ryan and the Falcons keep kind of poking their way to 500 here, get to 3-3. And then we're like, oh my gosh, this team's close to being over 500.
Yeah.
So I'm also going Falcons. And so the Jets on the road to play New England. New England lost arguably the most fun game of last weekend. An absolute thriller with the Cowboys. It went to overtime. Another almost bye week dud. The Cowboys almost blew it, headed into the bye week. But nonetheless, 2-4 Patriots versus the 1-4 Jets. Jets are coming off a bye week. Fred, what do you think?
Yeah, I think the Patriots showed a lot last week. They showed they could compete against really good teams. I think Mac Jones is continuing to get better every single week. I think he's probably the best rookie quarterback out of the bunch. And I think he continues that brilliant performance. I think they handled the Jets pretty well here. Zach Wilson's been terrible. That whole Jets team is just in shambles. I feel bad for Robert Saleh. I've sang my praises to him. I really like what the Patriots done. Matthew Judon's having an awesome year. I really like Jacoby Myers. I hope he can find the end zone. And then Kendrick Bourne, a couple guys stepping up, dual tight end sets they got running out there. Hunter Henry, a healthy Johnny Smith would be nice. That defense has played pretty decent. So I'm going to go New England here.
Yeah, so the New England Patriots and the Jets have already played this year. And the Patriots won 25-6.
Mm-hmm.
Zach Wilson threw 4 interceptions, which is almost half of his season total. So, going into this game, and you're no longer at home, you're on the road. You did have an extra week to prepare, which I find very, very interesting. I think they'll have a good plan because, like you said, Robert Saleh is a good coach. The guys seem to play for him. They play really hard for him. And so I think this game is like sneaky for the Patriots because if they get off to a slow start or, they're riding a little low off of their emotional loss to the Cowboys, there's a lot of factors that could play into this. And dude, the Patriots are so soft in their play calling with Mac Jones. So it's like the Jets could scheme something and really make this an interesting game. But I'm going to go the Patriots. I do not bet on a rookie quarterback against Bill Belichick. Will not do it. I refuse. I will choose the Patriots no matter what their record is. And so we move on. The Panthers, this game was actually really hard for me to predict a winner. And this is a potential upset of the week. I have a feeling that you might be brewing over there.
Not betting on them again. They were upset a week last week and they let me down. So
the Panthers 3-3 go on the road to the Giants. The Giants got obliterated by the Rams. It wasn't even a game at all. And the Panthers lost another gut checking, last second touchdown, overtime thriller. But I want to highlight something before I send it over to you. Sam Darnold's last drive to tie the game and get the 2-point conversion was absolutely spectacular. They started at the 7 and he led them. He marched them right down the field. DJ Moore dropped what could have been a longer touchdown, a 30+ yard touchdown. And he wasn't getting any help from his receivers. They were dropping so many balls. And I'm gonna just get it out of the way. I'm gonna go Panthers here. I legit wrote down the Giants and scribbled it out because I got to thinking. I was just like, I can't do that. I can't fall into the Fred trap. And Daniel Jones has kind of starting to regress back into his turnover prone ways. So I'm gonna go Panthers.
Yeah, I got the Panthers as well, man. Giants let me down last week. They're so bad. They're so beat up. Defense is so bad. The Panthers defense, had this hot start. I think they're still playing decent. They're giving up a lot of rushing yards, but no Saquon for the Giants, of course, hurts them a lot. Sam Darnold's been less than impressive. Yeah, that drive was great there at the end of the game, but man, the hot start he had, in these last 3 games has just been mediocre football. If they want any chance to playoffs, he's got to step it up, especially with how good their defense is. They can definitely make a run, but it all starts with him. But I do have them beating the Giants. I think it'll be close. I don't think it'll be a blowout, but
It'll be a fun game. I think it'll be a fun game.
But I do have Carolina winning that one.
Yeah, I could see this one being a really high scoring, really fun game.
I agree.
Because the Panthers defense, like you said, started out really, really good and it's kind of fallen back. But now this game, the one that the Chiefs and the Titans, the final game of the 1 o'clock window here that we're going to cover. This game is so interesting to me. It's huge for both teams. The Titans could build off a win against the Bills. That would be huge. Another home game versus a very, very tough opponent. Now, the Chiefs come in on arguably their best game of the year. Patrick Mahomes didn't play well, and they still got the job done, only giving up, I think it was 13 points to the football team, scoring 31. They did really, really well despite Patrick Mahomes' struggles turning the ball over. How strange is that? So, Fred, I'm going to send this over to you since you kind of alluded to this could have been your game of the week. I kind of want to hear what you have to say about this one.
Derrick Henry's so good at football. And he's going against the defense that is really bad at football. I think I'm going to lean Titans here. And I'm going to tell you why. I think Ryan Tannehill has a really good game this week. I think he finally realizes, I have Derrick Henry. I get it. I think it's time for Julio Jones, Jay Brown, to get involved. I mean, those guys, at their best are obviously, Patrick Mahomes has been turned over the ball a lot. I think that Titans defense is really good. So I'm excited for this game. I think it's going to be an awesome. But like I said, I think the Titans are just too much, and I think that defense is horrendous, and they're going against their candidate dogs. Again, need to take care. So I'm gonna go Titans. Close game, but Tennessee.
2. All right. So sorry about that little cut. We're not sure what happened. Internet. That's what's awesome about doing a live podcast, if you will. You get that sort of stuff. But if you didn't know, Fred picked the Titans, and pretty much alluded to just he has a lean, and Derrick Henry's good at football, and pretty much Ryan Tannehill will have his best game against a very subpar defense of the Chiefs. And I'm kind of right there with him. I actually thought we were going to defer on this game. I also have the Titans. I think the Titans are just a really good team. They're very, very underrated. And A.J. Brown got used, and the offense moved the ball. It's kind of crazy what happens. You use your best receiver, and then you let Julio be the wide receiver too, and then you give the ball to Derrick Henry. It's crazy what happens. I mean, who would have known?
Who would have thought?
Yeah.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought that you get the ball to your playmakers, good things happen. So I'm going to go Titans. I think that they learned their lesson. Mike Vrabel's a great coach, and I think he'll get the guys rolling, and they'll be just fine. So this then opens the 4 o'clock window. The Philadelphia Eagles go on the road to your Las Vegas Raiders. Fred's had a really good read on the Raiders this year. I feel like. I have not had a good read on this team. But I do have the Raiders winning. I just think the Eagles are terrible. Case in point, I don't like their team. And I have the Raiders winning today. I have the Raiders winning. I think it'll be a high scoring game. Again, I think Jalen Hurts has a really, really good game. But Derek Carr has been unbelievable, and I have the Raiders.
Ding, ding, ding. Upset of the week alert. This is my upset of the week. I got the Eagles. They fulfilled my upset of the week a couple weeks ago against the Panthers, and they do it again here. Played the Buccaneers tough last week. Played the Chiefs tough a couple weeks ago. Of course, beat the Panthers. I like this Eagles team. I like what Jalen Hurts has done. I don't think he's been, a superstar, but I think he's done just enough. He runs the ball well. I think Devontae Smith has a big game. That defense does just enough to squeak by the Las Vegas Raiders. This is my upset of the week.
I was not ready for that.
So Fred's upset of the week.
The Philadelphia Eagles over the Las Vegas Raiders. He's going back to old reliable. The
It'll
upset
work
of
once,
the week.
it'll work again. Man.
I was about to say.
The upset of the week that has hit was the Eagles. So this next game is pretty interesting.
The Detroit Lions and Jared Goff go on the road to play his former head coach and former team, the Los Angeles Rams. Sean McVay said in an interview today that he wishes he would have been more open with Goff in regards to the Matthew Stafford deal. There was apparently no communication with Goff until, hey, by the way, we just traded you to the Detroit Lions. So have fun with that. And Dan Campbell, right after the game against the Bengals, kind of called out Jared Goff, pretty much saying they need more out of him. He needs to be more of a leader. And pretty much calling out that the once quarterback that took the Rams to the Super Bowl. It kind of gets swept under the rug, as does Jimmy G, as he was a quarterback that led a team to
a Super Bowl. I don't think this game's close. Rams are 15.5-point favorites for a reason. The Rams roll. But I want to really, really quickly, I want to kind of applaud Dan Campbell for his way of calling out Jared Goff. Goff played horrible against the Bengals. It didn't even look like he wanted to be out there. The energy level was terrible. He needs to be more of a leader. He needs to step up and be a guy. He makes a lot of money, Jared Goff does. And so it'd be nice to get a little production, I'm sure. So I respect Dan Campbell for that, but I'm going Rams, and it's going to be bad.
Rams blow out. Matthew Stafford's too good.
They're just too good of a team. So we move on. Not
much to say about that one. Maybe not a lot to say about this next one either.
Yeah, another game that's kind of interesting. The 1-5 Texans go on the road and play the undefeated Arizona Cardinals. The Arizona Cardinals have been fantastic this season. Even without their coach, they absolutely pounded the Cleveland Browns into the turf. Played great football. I don't know if it's Lamar or Kyler, but one of those two have to be leading the charge in MVP right now. Right, with Tom Brady obviously right behind him.
Vegas odds has Kyler at 1.
Yeah, Kyler's unbelievable. I'm gonna go Cards huge. They're 17-point favorites. And that is for a reason. Their defense will eat alive Davis Mills.
Cards big.
Go Cards. And then the final game of the 4:00 window. Another weird one, man. I mean, there's a lot of heavy favorites going in. The 3-3 Bears go on the road and play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Buccaneers offense has been unbelievable. The Buccaneers are a very, very good football team, and they're led by the GOAT, Tom Brady. And Bucks big.
Bucks big. Yes.
What more can you say?
Bears aren't that good. Bucks good. That's elite
Bears.
football.
Yeah. Bucks. Yeah.
Yeah. Tom Brady too good. Leonard Fournette's so great at football. It's unreal. Justin Fields isn't great at football. No Ohio State quarterback will ever be good at football. Continue. Next question.
This is one of those 4:00 slates that is either going to be bloodbath after bloodbath after bloodbath, or they're just going to be like insanely entertaining. And I don't know.
I think it's going to be bloodbath, which can be kind of entertaining, I guess.
Yeah, it depends. Fantasy football owners, that'll be fun.
Hey, heck of a Sunday night game, though.
Yes.
Heck of a Sunday night game.
I'm very excited for the Sunday night football game. The Indianapolis Colts, led by the beautiful Jonathan Taylor, go on the road to play the San Francisco 49ers. The Colts are 2-4. The San Francisco 49ers are 2-3. The 49ers are the favorites coming into the game. The Colts are one of those teams that I kind of alluded to it last week, where I said that they are better, much better than their record. T.Y. Hilton was a key contributor last week, 4 grabs for 80 yards. Paris Campbell is on IR after his 150-plus yard touchdown. But nonetheless, I love the Colts. I think that they win here, and I think it's close, and I think it's a fun game.
Could be the game of the week, honestly. Two teams that are just well coached, good teams. The 49ers are coming off a bye, I do believe. And so they Kyle Shanahan off a bye. I mean, that could be, disaster written all over it, but I'm gonna go Colts.
Yeah, I think Jimmy G is gonna get a start in this one. I think is what they announced. But yeah, man, the Colts are really fun to watch. I think, of course, Jonathan Taylor has been, the guy, made me a lover of him. Wasn't crazy high on him, but man, dude can play football. You know what I mean? But yeah, Carson Wentz is my guy, man. Married a Lexington girl. He's just a phenomenal person and a great quarterback, man. I think 1,500, nine tuts, one oopsie daisy, and that's it. And Michael Pittman's had an awesome year.
One oopsie daisy.
Yeah, that offense is cool.
My man said one oopsie daisy. What?
Shouts out pain medicine. Anyway, next, Colts is the pick here, Coach. One oopsie daisy.
Oh my God, my man said one.
How did we not have a show on ESPN, man? It blows my mind.
Oh,
this is elite football talk right here. I'll tell you.
Oh, Monday Night Football. The New Orleans Saints on the road.
Jameis Winston, what?
And somehow the Seattle Seahawks have another primetime game.
Can we flex this game for the Bengals Ravens, please, or something?
That would be awesome. But this game is extremely interesting. I'm going Saints. They're just too good. 3.5 point favorites. Jameis Winston, I was looking at his numbers. He hasn't had a bad year. He hasn't been great, but he hasn't had a terrible year. He's not moving the ball.
The yardage is so weird for me for a guy who usually
is weird.
Chucks that thing.
Yeah,
only 3 oopsies, but I mean that's not bad.
3 oopsie daisies.
Little 3 oopsie daisies. Yeah, Geno Smith is not great. Their defense actually played pretty well against Pittsburgh, but Pittsburgh's offense is obviously a little lackluster.
The Seahawks signed Jacob Eason from the Colts. The Colts recently cut him, and they signed him as a quarterback.
All right, cool.
Popcorn.
Get your popcorn out, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, I got Saints here as well. They're just too good. Defense has been surprisingly decent actually this year for the Saints.
We didn't defer a lot this week. We kind of sided with each other a lot.
It's one of those weeks. Well, the only game we didn't agree on was the Ravens.
Was my upset of the week. Oh no, both are upsets of the week.
True. Yeah.
So I mean, I guess that's what they're intended to be.
So if you're a football fan, there's really one good game this week. Maybe actually 2: Chiefs, Titans, and then Bengals.
Get your popcorn for the 2 1:00 games. It could be entertaining.
AFC North. I'll be tuned in. I got to see who I'm competing with in the AFC North. You know what I'm saying? Steelers 3-3. We're hot. Come on.
Yeah. Okay. So this is honestly turned into one of those segments, man, where I really, really take a lot of thought into it. For the NBA, it's a 3-question game with Fred that we really set time out and do a lot of fun stuff with. For the NFL, it's a fantasy boom prediction. We are 1-1, so I've won 1. Fred's won 1. And last week, just to kind of go over the numbers here and toot Fred's horn, I had McCole Hardman. McCole Hardman had 10.8 fantasy points, which is not a bad week at all.
No.
But Donovan Peoples-Jones.
How many people owned him in fantasy leagues?
It was just at 1%. Donovan Peoples-Jones had 26.1 fantasy points and was wide receiver 5 on the week. And that was Fred's fantasy boom.
Who would have thought?
Catch a halftime at the buzzer touchdown? Yes. But he caught 2 touchdowns. So he had a great week. Donovan Peoples-Jones, great call by Fred. Whenever I saw the stats, I was like, holy cow, what a call. This week I'm really, really excited. I think there's a lot of good matchups that you can kind of pick and choose from and really try to find your boom guy. Fred, I'm going to let you go first.
Yeah, man, I picked another receiver this week.
I did too.
It's a tall kid out of Iowa State. He actually wears the colors green and yellow. He's owned by 3% of leagues around the world. That is Allen Lazard. Is my fantasy boom of the week. Going against a awful Washington football defense. I think he gets loose. He's a red zone threat. I think he can put up a lot of fantasy points this week. 10 catches, 124, and a got him this year. But I think that ramps up. Maybe a 10 catch game. Never know. Alan Lazard.
So you're going Alan Lazard.
Yes, sir.
Interesting. So I was looking up how much my guy was owned. Just so
Dude, it's so fun to see it.
I'm going this year, second year wide receiver for the beautiful Los Angeles Rams, Van Jefferson.
Bro, he was my second pick. I promise he was my second pick.
I'm so glad we didn't.
That's so funny.
Versus Detroit, Van Jefferson. He's actually had a decent year. But I mean, they got Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, Tyler Higbee, Darrell Henderson has absolutely chewed. So it's a very stacked room. But I think Van Jefferson can get loose.
Well, Florida kid.
Chomp Lions secondary, and he is owned by 8% of ESPN leagues.
Go pick him up. Hey, on a week where there's a lot of bye weeks, man.
A lot of bye weeks. So these are two guys you need to kind of have. Maybe if you're really like in a deeper league, like 12, 14 teams, then take a shot on one of these guys, man. What's the worst that can happen? They post.
Hey, go ahead and get yourself Donovan Peoples-Jones too. He could have a big day tomorrow. Never know. Or today. Come on.
Yeah, today. So yeah, that's where we're going. Van Jefferson and Alan Lazard. It's kind of turned into like a wide receiver segment.
I love it.
But it's a lot of fun.
Actually, no, it's hard. I mean, there's so many receivers that play a game,
Yeah, you're right, and I think it can be a little bit easier to pick a running back.
Yeah, and like it's fun like picking some weirdos too, because like we can say like obvious ones like Cooper Kupp's gonna go off this week, like probably like
Calvin Ridley against the Miami defense will chill.
Yeah, man. Yeah, like Devontae Adams will probably have a lot of points this week. No, not him.
So Fred's boom guy is Alan Lazard playing against the Washington football team. Mine is Van Jefferson playing against the Detroit Lions. So great show, Fred. Cheers my man. We only had one oopsie daisy in the show, and that's a little we had to cut out for the internet shortage that I went through for some reason.
One Carson Wentz oopsie daisy and a little technical difficulty.
Like a 2-minute technical difficulty. That's so strange.
Hey, but we recovered. We recovered the bag.
And hopefully I can edit it to a certain extent, but we will see. But Fred, you can go ahead and get us out of here, brother.
Hey guys, thank you so much for sticking around, watching us, having some fun with us. Remember, don't be a star. I can't throw up the X today. So don't be a star. Don't be a superstar. Man, change the game. Be different. Be great. Be awesome. Be an X Factor. We love you guys. Thank you so much. Thanks for tuning in. It's X Factor Sports Nation Talk NFL Edition. We love you. Thank you. God bless. And peace out.